Welcome to this explainer. I'm so thrilled you're here with us today. We are jumping right into the financial freedom blueprint, how to create a budget. We're going to break down a super clear step-by-step plan to help you take absolute control of your money. We want you building a remarkably strong financial future, even if you literally haven't made a single budget in your entire life.
So let's just dive right in with a question I know we've all asked ourselves at some point. Where does your money go? I mean, you work incredibly hard, you get paid, and yet somehow you look at your bank account and it is sitting completely empty before the next payday even rolls around. It is a totally universal frustration, and honestly, it can feel incredibly overwhelming. But right off the bat, we need a massive paradigm shift. You don't have a spending problem, you have a budgeting problem. Seriously, this is the reality for most Americans, so let's just drop all the judgment right here and now. This isn't about you being bad with money. It's simply about needing a structured, visible game plan. And to fix that, we've got a really clear roadmap for you today. We're going to cover 5 steps. First, the disappearing paycheck. Second, tracking income and expenses. Third, the 50-30-20 rule. Fourth, building an emergency fund. And finally, automating your financial future. All right, moving into part 1, the disappearing paycheck. Let's strip this right down to the basics. A budget is really just a plan that tells every single dollar exactly where it needs to go before you even have a chance to spend it. We've got to tackle our biggest fears about money first. There is this huge myth out there that budgeting means giving up everything you enjoy, like you're locking yourself in some sort of financial straitjacket. Absolutely not true. The reality is that a good budget actually gives you freedom and confidence. When you have a solid plan, you can spend your money completely guilt-free because you already know your bills, your savings, and your future goals are totally covered. Okay, part 2, tracking income and expenses. This right here is the absolute foundation of the whole shebang. Step 1 is figuring out exactly what's coming in. So calculate your exact monthly take-home pay, that's after taxes, or figure out your monthly average if you're self-employed. Get that number and write it down. Next up, you absolutely have to track those expenses. And trust me, most of us severely underestimate what we're actually spending. You're going to want to pull up those bank and credit card statements and start categorizing things. We're talking housing, transportation, food, utilities, debt payments, and of course, entertainment. Seeing these actual categories filled out with your own numbers, it's like flipping on the lights in a dark room. It shows you exactly where your money is really going. Now that we've got our raw data, we're on to part 3, the 50-30-20 rule. This is all about taking those expenses we just tracked and organizing them using one of the absolute easiest, most effective frameworks out there. So here's the breakdown of how your money should be divided. First up, needs. 50% of your income should be covering these. We're talking non-negotiable essentials: housing, groceries, utilities, transportation. Then, wants. Get 30%. Yep, you still get to have fun. This bucket is for entertainment, dining out, hobbies, all that good stuff. And finally, savings and debt repayment get 20%. This piece right here is the engine that actually builds your wealth and secures that financial future. Let's anchor this in some concrete reality to see how the math plays out. Say you earn $4,000 a month in take-home pay. The math is super straightforward. Half of that, $2,000, covers your needs. 30%, so $1,200, goes straight toward those wants. And that leaves exactly $800 a month dedicated entirely to your savings and debt payments. Now look, if your actual expenses don't fit perfectly into these exact percentages on day 1, do not panic. Just use this as a target guide and tweak it based on your own unique situation. Part of that 20% savings bucket brings us nicely into part 4, building an emergency fund. Think of this as your financial body armor, because let's be real, life is wildly unpredictable. Cars break down, medical bills pop up, and you absolutely need that protection ready to go. The secret here is to start with a highly achievable, immediate milestone. Your very first target? $1,000. That's it. That is your initial shield. You're going to want to stick this in a completely separate savings account so it is instantly available the second an emergency strikes, but completely out of sight for your day-to-day spending. Now, once you hit that initial $1,000, you don't stop there. Your ultimate goal is to keep funneling money in until you've saved enough to cover 3 to 6 months of living expenses. That right there, that is what true sleep-at-night financial peace of mind really looks like. To actually find the cash to build that fund, you're probably going to have to trim some expenses. Go back to your tracking data and ask yourself some tough questions. Here are a few great tactical steps. Cancel those unused subscriptions. Shop with a strict grocery list so you don't just wander the aisles throwing things in your cart. Compare prices and, for sure, avoid impulse spending. These might feel like really small changes in the moment, but saving just $10 a day, that literally adds up to thousands of dollars over the course of a single year.
And that brings us to the final piece of our blueprint, Section 5, automating your financial future. This is an absolute game changer. This is where you put your financial success completely on autopilot. You know, the wrong way to do this, and it's a huge mistake people make, is trying to save whatever happens to be left over at the end of the month. Because, let's be honest, there's rarely anything left. The right way requires a massive mindset shift. Save first, spend what's left. You literally have to pay yourself first. Set up automatic transfers to your savings the exact day you get paid. Automate your bills. Automate your retirement contributions. Doing this completely removes the temptation to spend the money that's supposed to be building your future.
As you start putting all of these pieces together, keep this in mind. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is progress. Look, there are going to be months when weird, unexpected expenses pop up. There will be weekends where you spend way more than you plan to, and that is perfectly okay. Just review your budget every month, make your tweaks, and let it evolve as your life changes. The more consistent you are, the easier it gets to banish financial stress for good.
So, to wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this one question to chew on. What is your money's purpose? It truly doesn't matter if you're making a little or making a lot. What matters is having a plan that gives every single dollar a job to do. Get started today, track what comes in, track what goes out, use that 50-30-20 rule, and start saving automatically. Your future self is going to absolutely thank you for it. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and we will catch you next time.